It is Saturday, the 2nd of September, if I'm not mistaken, and we're looking at the moon coming up. We're looking through an 800mm focal length lens that I acquired yesterday, very inexpensively. It's a Bosch Lomb 800mm f10 mirror lens telescope that I acquired at the Maison de l'Astronomie here in Montreal, and can't really complain about $80 worth of lens here, can we? This looks pretty good. I'm going to reframe. So we have some trees in the way, but they're sort of, I changed my position so they're less in the way. The moon was actually coming up between a bunch of trees. And yes, we're going to reframe here. Oh, see, there's more branches getting in the way. If I move further to my left, I can deal with that. But it's kind of fun with the leaves. We're just going to leave it as is. The ISO currently is at 12,800. The opening, as I said, officially it's f10, but why don't we just call it f11 to be conservative. And the shutter speed is a 30th of a second. And yes, there are these branches in between me and the moon. So it'll rise above the branches soon enough. So as I said, 800 millimeters, but we are in APS-C format. So you add 50% to the focal length in terms of equivalency. So essentially what we're seeing here is as if we were using a 1200 millimeter lens on a full frame camera, because there's a 50%, how can I put it, ratio, compensation factor, blah, 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 when you're cropping in here. So let's just raise the camera. I think I saw an aircraft or something coming along. Alright. Just got some branches in the way, but it's coming up.
Better up here on the porch.
It might be, yeah.
You don't have the branches in the way here.
Right. Oh, the aircraft went through. I saw it earlier. Oh, what? Something happened there. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, it might be better off just stepping
right
back.
Here, that's your view.
Earlier, though, when I was on the porch, there was too many branches in the way. That's why I came over here.
Yeah.
But
good now, though. Beautiful evening.
Yep.
See some planets coming out too over there. There's one. Might be Mars.
Over there?
Yeah.
More likely to be Saturn if it's a planet. Oh yeah, there. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, that's I think Saturn.
Bright one up there.
Yeah, those would be stars, I think, up above.
Yeah.
Jupiter should be. Oh, I think Jupiter's lower than the moon right now. Okay, that's an aircraft. But yeah, the moon's now above the branches, so I'll just stay where I am.
It's a beautiful night.
just let the moon rise up. As far as sharpness goes, because the moon is so low on the horizon, there is atmospheric turbulence and other issues. Just the amount of atmosphere between me and the telescope and the moon causes the moon to be less sharp. But it could be that my focus is slightly off as well. I didn't really do a super precise focusing here. I don't think there is an aircraft, but yeah, it sits well above the moon at this point. So we're just going to keep looking at the moon. Just doing a little adjustment here to allow it to rise up through the frame. And again, the focus, I think, is pretty good, but it may be slightly off. I don't know if I can zoom in here and have a look closer. No, not while that video's happening. So yeah. So we're, as I said, it's September 2nd, so we're about 1, 2, 3 days past the full moon, past the so-called blue moon. But it's still essentially a supermoon, being at its largest apparent size viewed from Earth a few nights ago, so it hasn't changed that much in a few nights. So definitely bigger than normal. And as we can see, it's definitely waning, definitely not full. Somewhat orange. Or, yeah, it's more orange than yellow, I would say. And in fact, I believe the camera is in, I think it might be an aperture priority mode, which might explain a few things. It's actually somewhat brighter on the screen than I'm actually seeing. It's more of a slightly deeper, darker orange color in terms of what I'm actually seeing. I'm just going to reframe here. We don't have a tracking mount. Just letting the moon rise up through the frame. But again, this lens, as I said, it's an 800mm focal length. Bosch Lomb lens from the late 80s, early 90s. In fact, in terms of Bosch Lomb, it's from 1992. But this lens appears to be a lens that was manufactured by someone other than Bosch Lomb, and Bosch Lomb put their name on it. And various other distributors put their name on it. So it's the same lens under several different names. But I got the Bosch Lomb version, as I said, for $80 on Friday. And I really can't complain, can I? For $80, we're doing okay here. So certainly, if you want to spend $10,000 on an 800mm 5.6 Nikkor lens, I expect it would be somewhat sharper. But between $80 and $10,000, I think this is acceptable, shall we say? So, and I'm just guessing off the top of my head that the price of an 800 5.6 Nikkor or Canon or Leica or whatever would be in the 10,000 range. Could be more, could be a bit less, but we're talking, multiple thousands of dollars to have a somewhat better lens than this, and it'd be a much bigger lens, much heavier lens. Yeah, I forgot to mention, this is actually quite compact. It's about 8 inches long, the lens. It's about a little over 3 inches in diameter, let's say 3.5 inches in diameter, so it's quite compact. And, oh, that's interesting. My ISO changed a little bit. I guess because the moon is a bit higher, the ISO is a bit lower now. It's 10,000, which is almost a synchronicity, because didn't I say something about 10,000 earlier, like a few minutes ago or some seconds ago? So I was talking about $10,000, and now the ISO is 10,000. Oh, just jumped up to 1280. So again, this lens opening is officially rated as f10, but it's probably in real terms closer to f11, and we're at a 30th of a second. We're using a Nikon D810 DSLR, but in crop mode. So what we're seeing is as if we had a 1200mm lens on the camera in terms of full frame, based on the conversion factor. And we're not going to switch back to 800. We're not going to switch back to full frame right now. So again, the focal length actually is 800 millimeters, but because we are cropping into the middle of the frame for this video, what we're seeing is what we would be seeing if we were looking through a 1200mm lens on a full frame DSLR or mirrorless camera. The 50% crop factor here. So again, back to ISO 10,000, f11-ish, 30th of a second. And again, I did not go to extreme lengths in terms of the focus. I did my best to get it right, but it's possible it's slightly out of focus. And as I said, the atmospheric conditions are such that even if the focus is perfect, which it may not be, there are issues caused by the amount of atmosphere that are between the camera and the moon. So this is actually brighter than what I'm seeing with the human eye, significantly brighter now. I'm debating what to do here. Can I change the IS? Okay, yeah, compensation there. Okay, let's go a bit further. Okay, there. So I adjusted the exposure compensation because we're in automatic exposure, which normally I don't do. A little bit of an oversight. But yeah, what we're looking at now in terms of what I see on the screen, on the camera, is very close to what I'm actually seeing with the unaided eye. And yeah, exposure-wise, yeah, moon might actually be slightly brighter, but we were definitely a bit over earlier. So we've actually managed to bring the ISO down to 2,200. So a significant difference in the ISO. And yes, we are going to reframe and put it over to the left a bit more. Okay, that's pretty good. So currently the ISO is 4,000. The aperture, we're going to call it f11, even though it's officially f10. And the shutter speed is a 30th of a second. And the focal length is 800. But because we're cropping into the frame, the equivalent of an APS-C size sensor, it's the equivalent of a 1200mm lens. Which is, I think, for this particular video and imagery is just fine. So, excuse me, a bit sleep deprived as usual. I'm seeing stars above me and around. I thought I saw Saturn earlier, but I can't seem to make it out now. Maybe if I... Oh, yeah, now? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, because I'm a bit short-sighted. I have a bit of astigmatism. So if I don't use glasses, it's actually very difficult to make out Saturn. But as it happens, I stopped in at this thrift shop earlier today, and they had a box full of glasses, and I tried on a variety of pairs of glasses until I found something that was like, oh, well, this is pretty good. This is like nice and sharp. And so when I don't use the glasses, it's almost impossible to see Saturn. It just blends into the clouds that are there. But if I put the glasses on, there's a little point of light out there over to the right. And it's about a few hand spans away, 2 or 3 hand spans. Whoops, excuse me. See, I've been looking at Saturn instead of the moon. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this $1 pair of glasses I acquired earlier today. Those aircraft. So, yeah. Yeah, nothing terribly exciting, just the moon. I'm not going to bother trying to get an image of Saturn in this particular video clip. In fact, I don't think I'm even going to bother after this clip has ended. I think I'm going to go in and watch the football game with the Alouettes and what's the other team? Oh yeah, BC Lions. So Montreal Alouettes, BC Lions. Montreal managed to pull ahead before I came out here by a few points. So we'll see what the situation is when I go back in. I got about 1 minute and 20 seconds of recording time left in this 20-minute clip. And yeah, I think we're pretty well done here. I got excuse me, a bit sleep deprived, as you can tell. So we're probably going to call it a night early. I should maybe check the time. Let's see, what time is it? 9:38. Yeah, so I think I'll probably call it a night around 10 or 11 at the latest. But I just wanted to see what I could manage with this lens. 40 seconds left. Moon's coming up to the top of the frame. Oh, I think it's actually, so, and there's an aircraft I see. So, okay, we're just going to leave this alone. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 12, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.